All right, welcome back to the PRFFP podcast. This episode, we have Sam Mattox, former champion of the festival with the winning title End of Bloodline. This year, he's
Hold on. No, I'm going to cut you off. End of the bloodline.
End
You're
of
going to
the
talk about a champion. Get it right.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Somebody's a little bitter that they were dethroned, but that's okay. I mentioned in Andrew's podcast that I think I blame myself for your loss partly because you did have the perfect script this year.
Yeah, I mean the script was the script. I thought it was great. And I kind of got a tough pairing there going up against Matt Stice. He did his sequel to the legendary Twice the Stice with Thrice the Stice. So just from the start, when I saw it, I was paired up with him. I knew that I was going to have an uphill battle that probably no matter what I did, I probably wouldn't win. But no, I thought I had a great script this year. And I know we're all about joking and whatnot, but you were absolutely amazing in my movie.
I appreciate it. I think it speaks to the volumes better that all of the films improved this year because your film was amazing, but I think everybody just kind of stepped it up a whole nother level. And then there's just Aaron Winiarowski, who is basically the Party Room Film Festival Tom Brady. He's just great. What are we going to do about it?
Yeah, I know. I mean, the first year, I don't know if people didn't really know what to expect coming into it, I guess. I mean, at first starting, we had a night where Andrew and Josiah and them got together and we're like, hey, what if we all just get together during quarantine and just watch our old college projects that we did. And then from that, they could probably tell you more about it than I can, but that's where it stemmed. And I think we're all just like, oh yeah, that'll be fun. We'll just make whatever comes to mind. But I think that first year really set the tone. People saw the movies that were made. And then, I'm not trying to brag, but End of the Bloodline was pretty legendary.
I agree.
And so that, it's really cool hearing like in Aaron's podcast or in the one you did with Aaron, the one you did with Andrew too. It's just really cool that you guys were just like they mentioned multiple times like how End of the Bloodline set the tone, or how it's like, oh, this is what End of the Bloodline did, and so that's what I wanted to do. I wanted that shock value in my film. So it was really cool to see that big transition. I think everybody really stepped up their game this year. It was amazing.
End of Bloodline was definitely the starting template for this year's film festival, I think.
Yeah, if you want to say that, I think people knew that they had to step up their game, and I knew I was going to have to step up mine. I didn't think there was any way I could top it. I told you when we were doing Metal Weird Solid, I told you, I was like, I know that this is not gonna, this isn't gonna win anything probably because, comparing it to Into the Bloodline, like it didn't have the same shock value, I guess, and the Bloodline did so perfectly. But I guess, with Metal Weird, like it was a passion project for me. I wrote that script and it was just something fun that I wanted to do.
So speaking of, now that we've moved into talking about Metal Weird Solid, so you wrote this script before the festival even began. Didn't you say that you wrote this script a while ago?
I did. Yeah. So before I even ever wrote End of the Bloodline, when Andrew and the RAs, Zach and Josiah, when they announced that we were going to do the first PRFF, I was just like, okay, it was like, I immediately just had an idea. For those you don't know, if you don't know, the people listening to this probably know. If anybody else randomly finds this that is not part of Nerd or PRFF at all, I love the Metal Gear Solid series. It's a video game series, and it's one of my favorites. So somehow I think I was probably actually playing through Metal Gear Solid 4 when PRFF got announced. And so I was like, okay, what if I did like a parody of Metal Gear? I didn't even have a title for it, to be honest. At first, I just wrote the scripts. It was just something fun I came up with. I love puns as well. So that's why all the puns were in there. And I just wanted like a really like cheesy action packed, spoof of like a James Bond film, because the Metal Gear series is actually kind of inspired from the James Bond movies, if you don't know. Mm-hmm. In Metal Gear Solid 3, you can dress Solid Snake up like James Bond, that was kind of the inspiration of, I haven't seen any of the James Bond movies, but that was definitely the route that I wanted to go with that. So backtracking a little bit, so I wrote the script, and then the rules got announced for the first year, and I believe the rules, if you want to correct me on this, the rules were we had to use a mousetrap, and we had to use what was the line? Never tell me the odds. That was the
Correct.
line we had to use, and I had absolutely no idea how I was going to incorporate that into Metal Weird Solid. So I had to come up with something totally different, and I just didn't really have, I guess I just didn't have the time to do Metal Weird, just with the 1 month deadline that we had. So then I had to come up with the End of the Bloodline script for the first PRFF, and of course that is a tale that will live in infamy.
It absolutely will. So you wrote it, you didn't actually use it, so you're just kind of sitting on this passion project that you were eventually maybe going to get to down the road. So the intro video,
two party, two festival.
There it is. The intro video gets announced. We get our adjectives instead of genres, and we also get actors who have to be in our thing. And so we got lucky enough to draw each other. So I kind of already know all of the behind the scenes stuff, but I still want you to tell as much as you would like to. But what were your initial reactions to getting me as an actor and to getting that word? And why did you end up bringing Metal Weird Solid from the archives?
Yeah, so I knew, sorry, if you hear the garage door, Ellen just got home. So you might, use your editing skills to edit this out or whatever.
Nope.
But anyway, so I knew that after End of the Bloodline, I was like, okay, like I don't think there's any way that I can top End of the Bloodline this year unless I possibly come out with an End of the Bloodline sequel, which I was not ready for yet, but that probably will come one day, just sneak peek. But I was like, okay, like I've got Metal Weird Solid sitting here in my back pocket. It's like, I don't really care about winning anything this year. Ellen probably wants to get the Golden Dewey out of the apartment anyway. It's been sitting on the counter. Lovely view on the counter, by the way. I miss it dearly. But I was like, okay, probably not going to win anything this year. So let's just have fun with it. I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself to make something crazy. I've already got a script written. Let's just go ahead, and I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself this year. Let's just go ahead and make Metal Weird Solid. It was like, I already have the idea. I already got the script. I don't have to put too much effort into it. We had 2 months to film it. I was like, okay, I got this. This will be no sweat. And so then the rules came out. So at first we all had to submit an adjective, and I actually submitted the adjective unkempt because I was looking for just something different, a word that I figured that the word would probably have to be in the title of the movie. And so I was like, what's a word that would be really weird to have someone to have to put in their title? So I found unkempt. So I submitted it to Andrew. It got picked as one of them. And then I actually got that adjective.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I got my own adjective, and I was like, okay, I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I was like, okay, I still have the title that I love. I love the title Metal Weird Solid just because I thought it was a great play on the video game series name. And I was like, okay, how am I going to put Unkempt in here? So then I was like, okay, the game is Metal Gear Solid Tactical Espionage Action. So that's how I put in Unkempt Espionage Action.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty fitting for the action, quote unquote, action in the movie that I made.
I would agree.
Yeah, and then so with the actor this year, when I wrote the script, I was just like, okay, I can play Not So Solid Snake. That's fine. If I have to, I'll do it. That was the original plan, and then I got blessed with the golden calf of Jacob McGlone as my actor. And I swear, like, the heavens opened up when that announcement came. And I was just like, Andrew, Zach, Josiah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me Jacob McGlone, because he is the perfect choice to play Not So Solid Snake. And you absolutely nailed that role. I told you multiple times on set that you made the movie way better than I ever could have imagined.
You are way too nice, you know that. I remember.
I really think I think you got snubbed for best actor. I don't remember who won best actor this year,
I actually
but
don't either.
I don't remember, but I think you got snubbed. I think you nailed it. You were amazing. You did your own stunts. You did more stunts than I even had scripted for you. You almost died once when you broke the table at Matt Slice's apartment.
Yeah, that
But
we can talk
yeah.
about that in a little bit. I want to just bring back, like, going into the days we finally got each other as our thing, and I
Mhm.
message you just because I think it would be fun to make it seem like you were a terrible director. I was like, "Are you going to force me to lose 50 pounds? Are you going to force me to do all of these things to get in shape for this role?" And you told me, actually, it would be great if you could gain another 15.
Yeah, I did tell you that.
And I was like, okay, perfect. I could absolutely do that.
You definitely did. I mean, I don't know if you actually did, but
I don't know, probably. Who knows?
yeah. But no, and you even asked me if you should cut your hair or anything. Anybody else, whoever, if we do this thing again, we assign actors. If you get Jacob McGlone, he is a pure method actor. He will do whatever you need him to do. If you need him to get swole, he will probably look like Dwayne Johnson by the time he shows up on your set. I mean, I mean, you were on top of it, man.
In that 2-month time period, I will go from Jack Black to Dwayne Johnson. That is correct. I, again, it's weird asking these questions because I kind of already know. But
Right.
for our listeners, tell me a little bit about the timeline for this film. So, how quick was pen to paper? Well, pen to paper was a negative amount of time since you wrote it 2 years prior.
Yeah, two
Um,
years.
but filming, editing, all of that. Give me a little bit of a timeline, please.
Okay, so as you said before, we actually got each other to be in our movies. So that was really lucky that we got that. Obviously, I was thrilled to have you to play Not So Solid Snake. Whether or not you were thrilled to have me, I have no idea. You probably weren't. I'm a horrible actor.
I
Um,
was. You did a great job. I enjoyed having you.
no, I did a horrible job. But with that, I mean, even so, we got really lucky that that just happened.
Mhm.
We messaged each other back and forth a lot, trying to figure out the best time to meet up somewhere. You were super willing to come up to Lexington to do that, so that made it really easy. So you came up. I can't remember exactly the date, but
I
you came
think
up. You probably
I think it was
what was
like the first week of July, something like that. I
yeah,
remember
so, or the last
I
week of June. It was the last week of June. That's what it was.
mhm. Yeah,
Because
because it was like near my birthday. I just remember that I had a show back when I was doing lighting in
mm,
Nashville, Tennessee, and I got done with loading the truck at
yeah,
about 1 a.m. And then I drove to you and just knock on your door at like 4 a.m.
yeah.
And truth be told, I thought we were going to start filming immediately because we had such a time crunch. We had to get it done in like 8 hours.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, that was wild. Like you came up, you got, like you said, you got there about 4 o'clock in the morning. I came out, walked you up to the apartment and was just like, you're like, so are we doing this? And I was like, no, we're going to bed. And that was a Friday night. And so we had no, that was a Saturday night, actually, I think. I don't
Maybe.
know. Matt Stice is listening to this. He probably has the dates memorized because it was right before he left for the Olympics, and he helped a lot on set. So all these dates, throw them out the window. They might not be right. I don't know.
It's all good.
So it was Sunday. It was a Sunday morning that we started filming. So I needed Matt Stice's apartment for part of the film. So we went over there Sunday morning, probably about, I don't know, 10, 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Mhm.
Bought you guys McDonald's breakfast for helping on the film. You and Matt Stice were there. And then my buddy Micah Hawley, for those of you that know him, he was there too, helping on the film. So we probably started filming there about 9:30, 10:30, I'd say. And I guess we were there for maybe 2.5 hours, maybe
Mhm.
2.5, 3 hours. Then we finished up there, headed back to my apartment. Probably took another 4 hours to finish filming Metal Weird. And I think so. We probably got done probably about 5 o'clock, 5:30 or so. And then we did yours. We did your movie afterwards. We can talk about that later.
Yeah.
So total filming time, I would say probably about 7, 8 hours. And then editing took me forever. Because it actually ended up being one of the longest movies of the film festival this year. It was 8 minutes and 2 seconds. So I had all that to edit together. And then I had a lot of quick cuts at some points that I had to put together. But the thing that took the most time was the villain Face Changer. Face Changer took forever because first of all, I had to learn how to do masking because I have not done a whole lot of editing. I'm not very good at editing. Fortunately, Ellen is a great teacher and shows me how to do this stuff. So I had to learn how to do all the masking, and then I did not realize how long that was going to take. So just Face Changer alone took me, I say that just working on the scenes that Face Changer was in probably took me a good week and a half to do.
Wow. Yeah.
It's because, and granted, I only did it for like 2-3 hours a night, probably. But man, that took so long. I mean, I did not realize how many different frames would be in there. How many
and you
times
have to track it with the body.
Yeah, I had to track it with the body and get all the different pictures for all the different guys and Photoshop their faces out and put all the faces on there and track it and make the changes, make sure that the actor's face did not show, because I was Face Changer. I was the body of Face Changer, for those who didn't know. So yeah, anyway, so the Face Changer took a long time. The longest time was the bathroom scene, was editing that together, because I needed, the tracking and all that stuff to just be as good as possible. It wasn't perfect, but that's kind of the point. I'm not a great filmmaker. I don't pretend to be. My editing's not great. I think that actually kind of plays in a lot to some of the spirit of Party Room Film Festival, is just bad filmmaking, bad editing, all that stuff. So yeah, that took me such a long time to do. It took me way, way longer than it did to write the script or even film it.
Editing is the iceberg, I would say, of filmmaking. It's like, you shoot it and you write it and everything, but then underneath the surface, there's just hours and hours and hours of editing. So let's talk a little bit about behind the scenes, which, I mean, where do you want to start with that? We broke a table. We stuck a head in the toilet. Like, there's so much you can talk about.
Let's go. I guess let's start in chronological order. At Matt Seiss's apartment, the scene where you come into the apartment and Gravedigger is in there with the shovel. You come through the kitchen. There's a table over to on the right-hand side of the screen when you watch the film. There's a table over there. I can't remember which shot I used, if it was before or after we broke it. I think it was probably after. But at one point, you had the box over your head, because Snake sneaks in a box, and it's the best form of disguise. And you could not see where you're going. And you kicked one of the legs out on the table, and then it just collapsed. And I think like a jar of jelly broke or something and went everywhere.
Yeah, it was jelly. There was glass and jelly everywhere.
Yeah. And so I think it was Matt Seiss's jelly or something that someone made him. I guess it was old. I don't know. He wasn't too upset about it, which was good. But yeah, so that caused a delay in filming. Nobody was hurt on set, which was good. Safety's obviously the most important thing when making a film, and nobody got injured with that. So that's probably the only crazy behind the scenes thing that we had going on there. I'll also say, while we were there, when you doing all your flips and your rolls and stuff, that was totally your idea, Jacob. That was not the director's idea. That was the actor doing his best to elevate the film to its greatest possibilities.
Yeah, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I wish the film could have been 16 minutes. That way there could have just been 8 minutes of just me falling over and flipping around.
I tried to make that scene as long as I could, like in Hot Rod. Everybody's seen Hot Rod. When he's rolling down the hill. Everybody, you guys know that scene. That's kind of what I wanted to do when you started doing that. That was the idea I had. I was like, oh, this would be great if I could just make this go as long as possible, because it's pretty obvious in the film that like you're going a pretty short distance.
Yeah, like 20 feet.
Yeah, but I had so much to put in there. Like I said, 8 minutes and 2 seconds. I didn't have as much room to do that, or else I totally would have, because that just would have been too funny.
I think we did that like 5 times, something like
Oh,
that.
definitely. I got multiple angles of that. At one point, I think it's actually in the film too. If you can hear it under the music, you did like a or something. I don't know
Yeah.
what sound that was, but
I
it's
was
audible.
doing
You can hear it.
I was doing a somersault uphill and it just compressed all of my lungs air. So I just go like it's just this little whimper of a breath
Yep.
while I'm upside down. It goes and yeah.
Yeah, that was hilarious. But then, so behind the scenes at the apartment, so the most difficult part of the shoot was definitely the bathroom scene,
Mhm.
where Not So Solid Snake and Face Changer have the penultimate battle. That was such a tough scene to film because it was such a tight spot. We brought in one of the big tall lamps in there for lighting, because the bathroom didn't have very good lighting in there. So when Not So Solid Snake's in the shower and Face Changer comes in, I believe we had Ellen filming that on her phone, or on my phone, not on her phone. It was on my phone, I promise. Jacob, you can confirm it was all filmed on my phone.
I don't think
Um,
I don't think that's the stipulation that matters. I think it's just as long as it's filmed on a phone.
oh, that's true. Oh well, just whatever. Anyway, so we had her doing that, and then we had Micah was with us. He was holding the lamp. He was tilting it at different angles. It was such a tight space. It was getting hot in there. You were getting wet with the shower. It was kind of all over the place, but that was tough because of the tight spot. But then maybe not the toughest shot, because it went a lot smoother than I thought. The swirly scene, which I had this idea when I originally wrote the script, was okay, Face Changer is gonna, or well, this villain is gonna get a swirly. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but it'd be funny to have someone have to stick their head in a toilet, because potty humor, why not? I figured the guys would like it, and they did. It was a big hit. So the evolution of that scene, actually. So Face Changer was originally just a henchman. He didn't have the face changer part of his character. He was just a person. And then once I heard that we were going to be toying with the idea of using the nerds as actors in the film, I was like, okay, what if I just used everybody? Which, fun fact, Metal Weird Solid is the only Party Room Film Festival film to have every nerd in it, because I used everybody's face as a part of Face Changer, except for
Did you?
mine. But I was the body, so everybody's face was on Face Changer at some point or time in the movie.
Hey everybody, Future Jacob here. I just fact checked this and he does not use himself or Stice as Face Changer, but both of them are in the film, so it is still the first film to feature all nerds.
So
That's an incredible feat.
whenever Party Room Film Festival has our IMDb page on the trivia, that's going to be one of the trivia items, was Metal Weird Solid Unkept Espionage Action, first film to feature all nerds. So I had the idea of, okay, what if I just put a stupid villain where his face changes and it's just poor Photoshop of all the guys' faces on him. And I was like, okay, what else would be funny? How would I get him into the toilet for a swirly? What if the way to defeat him is you can only beat him when he's at his ugliest? And so it worked out perfectly, because the original idea was still to have your face as the ugliest form. And then when you were named to be my actor in my film, and I was like, oh, he's going to be Not So Solid Snake. Oh my gosh, I had the idea of putting Jacob McGlone's face as the ugly face for Face Changer. That's going to be hilarious. Seeing his own face on Face Changer being like, oh, he's hideous, dunking him in the toilet for the swirly. So that could not have worked out more perfectly. But so what happened with that shot was, so obviously as I was playing Face Changer, Not So Solid Snake, you actually dunk my head into the toilet, not too far down, but far enough down to where, we had to get it right to make it look convincing enough. We had you stick my head down in there and actually flush the toilet. So I was actually the one to get the swirly, which actually wasn't too bad. I mean, I'm not asking for people to just give me swirlies, because I mean, please don't, because that's gross, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
And it was a very clean toilet.
It was, yeah.
You and your wife cleaned it like 3 times before any filming happened.
Yeah, I was not about to stick my head in that toilet knowing what I've put in there before. But it was a very clean toilet. But for the actual swirly shot, so fun fact, as you see your face, Jacob, as everybody sees your face going into the toilet, first it really was the toilet, but it was not actually Face Changer, the actor playing Face Changer going in there. That was actually Jacob McGlone doing a separate stunt for a separate character in the movie, which was very, very versatile on your part to also be the stunt man for Face Changer.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, I can add that to my IMDb list too. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that there was going to be no way. I mean, there probably is a way, but not that I was going to figure out or want to deal with, to just do the Photoshop Jacob McGlone face going into the bowl. So I was just like, I'll just get him to do it with his own face because it's him anyway. So that'd be hilarious. So what we did for that shot was I just stuck just a regular bowl in the toilet, just like a bowl you'd eat cereal out of. Put that in the toilet, put my phone in it. So it had like the perspective of coming from the toilet. Had to resituate it a few times to get the right angle. I then took like one of those big glass Pyrex bowls, filled it with water, and just stuck it over top the toilet seat opening, which worked perfectly because it was just the right size. So it would just hang there and nobody had to hold it. And then, we just kind of hit record on the phone, and you probably stuck your face in that bowl of water and swished it around 5-6 times, I think. Something like that. I mean, what was that like for you, having to do that and go all out for the film?
I will say this. It is similar to Vince McMahon asking his wrestlers to do certain bumps. He won't ask any wrestler to do what he won't do. So by the time you asked me to put my face down in the toilet bowl, I had already given you like 5 swirlies. So at that point, I felt comfortable enough to go ahead and do it to the best of my ability for my director. But I believe we did it 2 or 3 times, like 2 or 3 takes with 5 swirlies in each take, something like that. Just because we weren't sure if we got the right angle. And then when we did, we were like, maybe just one more for safety, just in case.
Yeah, that was a really fun shot. I was really proud of that. I mean, it wasn't like super creative or whatever, but I was like, oh, toilet shot perspective from the toilet. I was super proud of that shot, and it got a good reaction, and I was happy for that.
So Not So Solid Snake, he defeats Face Changer, and his pants are wet. Tell me a little bit about what goes on from here.
Okay. So as the listeners know, if you are an outsider, if you're not a nerd, not a PRFF member, this is going to be maybe a shock to you. But if you're a nerd, not a shock. I only have one testicle, so I had to get it removed. That was sophomore year. So came back to school, had one testicle, and was just like, you know what? It is what it is. Let's just have fun with it. So I don't want to say that became my identity, because that's kind of a weird identity to have, but I was very, I mean, you guys know, I was very just open about it, joked about it all the time. It was fun, just make the most of it, make fun of it. It is what it is. Can't change it. So just have fun with it.
Yeah.
So End of the Bloodline, let's start there. So I really think that is what helped me win that film, was the fact that I had one testicle. And that's just kind of where I got the idea from. I was like, okay, well, I know this is funny because, it's just like, it's your go-to thing. So let's make a film about having one testicle. And then making Ellen do all that stuff in there, which she was, like how you were like the golden calf of this movie. Ellen was, I'm not going to call her a golden calf because that would be awful.
Do not call your wife a cow. Do not do that. Yes, correct.
No, don't do that. But Ellen is to End of the Bloodline as you were to Metal Weird Solid.
I agree. She was amazing. Her performance was breathtaking.
She was, yeah. She did so many things that she was uncomfortable with, and having her deliver the maybe the greatest quote from a movie from PRFF so far, "You don't have the balls to start a family with me."
Yeah.
Having Ellen deliver that line, and the fact that people know her and know that she just would not say that. That is definitely what put that movie over the top, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. And then so fast forward to Metal Word Solid, I was like, okay, I have to have a one ball joke. That might be my director trademark. We'll see if that becomes a thing going forward. But I was like, okay, I got to make a one ball joke. Why not? So I have the villain in Metal Word Solid has a guard dog that Not So Solid Snake has to get by, and Not So Solid Snake has to find something to distract it. Finds a tennis ball. After the shower scene, his pants get wet in the shower scene. After he defeats Face Changer, he drops his pants, which I had the privilege of sitting right next to you with my face level with your crotch when you dropped your pants.
Yep.
Fortunately, you had your underwear on. Actually, you had my shorts on too, because Ellen was filming and you were not about to go in your underwear in front of Ellen.
That is correct. Yes.
And so you drop your pants because they're wet. All we see is the pants hit your ankles. So it looks like that you just don't have pants on.
Yeah. I
But the
think
towel,
you're leaving out part of the big reason that we did this was to get the red herring of that we were going to invoke the Mitchell Judy rule. Because whenever it was festival night, everybody was like, what?
well, so first of all, I mean, you can't show anything that's not your own. That's the Mitchell Judy rule. So that was never the plan, to show Jacob McGlone's anything, because nobody wants to see that. No, the whole setup was just for the one ball joke. That was all it was. I can't remember if I actually had to rewrite that in or not, because I knew I had it in there. I think I had to do a little bit of tweaking with the script to put it in there somewhere, but that was kind of always the idea for that, was to have the pants get wet, the pants get dropped. Not So Solid Snake has the towel around him. He finds the ball, distract the dog, and when he comes face to face with Palate Cleanser and the dog, he drops the towel, and Palate Cleanser goes, "Ha! You only have one ball." And then it goes back to Not So Solid Snake, showing that he just has tennis ball in his hand, not that he's actually nude from the waist down, because one, nobody wants to see that, and two, I mean, nobody wants to see that.
That's interesting. I thought it was always a fake out to the Mitchell Judy rule. I thought that was the point of it.
No, it was definitely an original idea from the original script. So I still had to do it. It was the one ball joke that I had, and it was the one ball joke that I stuck with. The thing that M. Night Shyamalan's so great at is show and don't tell.
Mm-hmm.
He never over words things ever in his movies. He never ever does that. So originally it was just going to be just show the joke, don't tell it. But I had to tell the joke because you were playing Not So Solid Snake.
We're talking about how you had to change the script a little bit to fit that joke. Do you have any regrets about not playing Not So Solid Snake?
No, none whatsoever. I've said this before already, and I'll say it again. I could not have played that role as well as you have. I think that you may have been born for that role. I think that was your peak in your acting life. Whether or not somebody finds another role that you excel in, I'm sure they will, because you're an awesome actor. You're down for whatever. But there is absolutely no way that I could have done that role as well as you. And it opened the door for me to actually play the body of Face Changer, to be able to incorporate that joke in there as well. So it really worked out perfectly. I'm so grateful to the PRFF committee to have just made it so easy for me. So it turned out great. I have no regrets how any of it turned out.
That being said, if time or budget wasn't an issue, what would be different in this film if you had an extra month or an extra $1,000 to put towards the budget?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I don't really think I would change much. I think the locations probably could have been better if I had more time, or more resources to find different locations to open things up a little bit more. So there would have been more room, because Matt Stice's apartment worked really great actually, but it was kind of cramped in there. So it didn't actually, some of the logistics of that didn't work out the way I'd envisioned, but we made it work. Money, I don't really think, I mean, I probably would have bought you guys more food.
I would like to say real quick, you brag to the other directors about me as an actor. I would like to say, if any of the other nerds are acting in a Sam Mattox film, he will give you pizza rolls on pizza rolls on pizza rolls. Part of the reason filming took so long is because I kept leaving the set in the bathroom to go get another pizza roll or two to eat.
Hey, you gotta keep the crew happy.
Oh yeah,
So
no, it was awesome.
if you work on my film, I will feed you as a thank you. So whoever gets to be my actor next year, just start thinking about what you want now, because I'll feed you.
Are there any other Easter eggs or fun facts or stories from behind the scenes that you can think of?
Oh, you know what? No, I just thought of something.
Okay.
So the scene at I keep calling it Matt Seitz's apartment. It was the headquarters. It was the original headquarters of Palate Cleanser, where the henchmen were. So Gravedigger was there after you defeat Gravedigger by just stumbling into him. So Snake from the video game series, Snake's best disguise is a cardboard box. He just hides under a cardboard box. Honestly, like if you ever see a cardboard box, do you ever think anybody's hiding underneath it? So that's the iconic disguise. So as you're going through the headquarters under your cardboard box in that great disguise, obviously the actor Jacob McGlone, you do not fit underneath it.
I tried my best.
You tried your best. It really only fit over top of your head. But I will say, for the people that watch the movie, when Not So Solid Snake kicks over the trash can and Gravedigger turns around and sees just the cardboard box lying on the floor, a lot of you probably thought that Jacob was actually hiding under it still, or that there was some great editing there that was done to make it look like he was not actually underneath there. So, believe it or not, the box was just sitting there on the ground. It was just the box. Nobody was underneath it. There was no special editing that went into that. It was just the box on the ground. And then to add on to that, afterwards, you get the gag of seeing you underneath the box again. It's hilarious. It was a great gag. I thought it was hilarious. And then after you defeat Gravedigger, you go up the stairs, you're crawling up the stairs. And I had the idea of showing you crawling up the stairs with the box over your head. Obviously, you can see the rest of your body. And then I wanted to show like just the box going up the stairs, because that was just another gag to add on to that would have just been a hilarious thing to see. I didn't actually know how to pull it off. And then Matt Seiss was like, oh, hey, well, what if we just use I can't remember if we use dental floss or something.
It was floss.
Yeah, it was dental floss. We just tied it onto the box and just dragged it slowly up the stairs. You can actually see the floss in the film a little bit if you look for it, but that was not Jacob McGlone underneath that box at that point. It was just us dragging the box up the stairs with nobody underneath it. So
dude, you keep taking these things away from me. I'm going to have to take them out of my acting reel.
Well, I think you showed enough in the rest of the film to put on your resume.
This film was so much fun to work on, and I'm glad I got to be a part of it. Oh, something that I want to say about this film, not that anybody said anything to me about it, but Not So Solid Snake's eye patch changes from eye to eye, and sometimes he doesn't even have it on. This was not my fault. Sam would say, wait, hold on, switch eyes every few takes.
That was another intentional gag, was just having you switch the eye patch back and forth. You didn't actually take it off until the very end, the very last scene when you're talking with the colonel. So you just had the eye patch up over your forehead. So yeah, so it was kind of hard to notice, because honestly, I honestly forgot about it. That may be me just being a bad director to not remember the details of my film, but it is so subtle in the film that you wouldn't notice it unless you actually knew what was happening. So it'd be fun to go back and watch that and see when you can notice the eye patch on the different eye.
I think you and let's see who else. You and Zach Adam might be the only two who have had the same level films for both years. Because we talk about Andrew 2020 versus 2021. He did a full thing. This was Evil, and then he comes out with American Unsightly. And then you have me, who did this weird, I didn't know how to edit anything, so I did that. And then I come out with Meaningless. But you have consistently put out great films for 2020 and 2021. Are there any plans or concepts you're playing with for 2022?
I have. Well, first of all, I appreciate you saying that, because Everybody all the guys put so much work into their films. You know, everybody has their different way of making films, and everybody does a great job. So it's really great competition all around between all the guys. So for you to say that, especially with how iconic Meaningless McGlone Fever Dream was this year, that means a lot for you to say that. But as far as next year goes, I do have a couple ideas swirling around, but I don't really think about it too much outside of like about the 3 or 4 months that all of this goes on, because we usually have the 1 month to do the film, and then we have the month of the film festival, and then after that everybody's on such a high that you're still thinking about stuff. So I do have a couple of ideas from that I thought up of the couple weeks after this year's film festival. And like I said earlier, I do have an idea for an End of the Bloodline sequel when the time is right. That's all I'll say about that.
You don't want to saturate the market too quickly. It has to.
No, I don't. When the time's right, it'll happen. But it probably won't be next year. But I do have some ideas for next year. It all just kind of depends on what the rules are. This past year, I had the luxury of already having my script figured out before everything even got announced. So this year, with a shorter timeline, we're only going to have a month this year.
No, I think we're keeping the 2 months.
Are we?
I believe so.
Because I know we just did the 2 months for the people that were going to the Olympics, but either way, it's gonna be tougher this year. But depending on what the rules are, who I get as my actor, I have a couple ideas. It'll just kind of depend to see on who I get to see which film idea I go with.
Who you get as your actor. I've been doing this. So I am also a little upset about not winning Best Actor this past year. So
I'm right there with you. You definitely should have won.
So I have been, part of the reason I'm doing these interviews is so that I can get some face-to-face time with each of the director and ask them straight, can I be in your next film? Because then if I'm in all the films, there's no way I can't win. So Sam Mattox, we've worked together once. Do you think you have a spot for me in your next film?
Well, now that you said that, no. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, if you get assigned to me again, which I doubt will happen, I mean, obviously you'll be in it, but I don't know. I think I like to work with, I like to usually work with a small cast and a small location. I don't put a whole lot of effort into this, guys. I mean, I write the script. I usually film it at my house or a friend's house or something. And then that's it. I mean, like I don't go super all out, but you know, we'll see if I get you as my actor, or you know, if I have another idea where I need you to be a specific role, sure. Absolutely. We'll see what happens.
Since you've moved, you know, you're in a new location, has that sparked any ideas for you?
Not going to reveal anything, but I've had a couple of new ideas since I moved here.
That's cool. I think getting into a new environment can help jog the creativity of the brain.
Definitely.
Is there anyone you want to call out this year, grudge match style?
Actually, yes.
Oh, yay! Nobody has taken me up on this, so I'm really excited. So here we go.
Just because it'd be fun, because I know this person would just have the most fun with it. I'm gonna call out Zach Adam, because Zach Adam is hilarious and he goes all out. And I really think that he and I have similar styles, similar senses of humor, where it's just kind of crazy and wild. He's a much better filmmaker than I am, but I love the style of his films. So this isn't like maybe not like the grudge call out that you wanted, but like more of a friendly, like I love his style, his sense of humor. So I'm going to call him out to see who can make the better film this year, just because I think he and I can both come up with something crazy. And I know that he would take on that challenge and he'll get all pumped up when he hears his name here. So Zach, I'm calling you out, man. Let's make some great films and go head to head.
Yeah, you heard that, Zach. He said he hates you and he thinks you're a terrible person and that he's going to crush you into the ground.
Yeah, your film sucks. Well, I don't even know what it's going to be, but it already sucks. So we're probably not even going to be head to head with each other next year. So not like we'll have head to head anyway, but now Zach's awesome. I love his films. I love everybody's films, but as far as calling out somebody goes, I'm just like, the most fun person to call out would probably be Zach Adam, because he will just go off the wall with it and just get super competitive, and I like the competitive part of it. And so we're gonna be competitive this year, man. We're gonna go after each other.
There we go. That's what I like to hear. I just want to see a friendly rivalry happen. I think I'm gonna have one with Aaron Winiarowski just because I feel a little bit snubbed. I finally put effort into a film and he takes it from me, but we'll see.
This film festival is so fun, and you've asked Andrew and Aaron this, and I don't know why you haven't asked me yet. If you were going to, I'm going to cut you off anyway. But I think the thing that makes this so fun, and I alluded to it earlier, talking about Ellen from Into the Bloodline, but it's knowing all the guys and seeing each other in each other's films, and just being like, oh, this person did this. Or this person had this idea and these other people were a part of it, and just knowing that like the nerds are just having so much fun with it behind the scenes and on the screen, and when we all watch it together, like that's what makes this so special. And I've told Andrew this before, that if you guys have seen the movie Be Kind Rewind, that's kind of what this film festival reminds me of. Short story for that if you don't know it, but and Be Kind Rewind, all these films in a video store get erased, and Jack Black and this other guy and the people from the town, they start like recreating the films and putting them back on the videos and giving them out to people to watch when they rent them.
I haven't seen this before. This sounds amazing.
Oh, it's great. So the videos get erased, and then the guy that owns the video rental store is friends with Jack Black. And so somebody comes in and wants to rent like Ghostbusters, I think. And they're just like, well, all the films got erased. And so then they just like get someone else and they recreate Ghostbusters, and then they give it out to the rental, to rent. And then people just keep coming back, and this guy at the video store, Jack Black, and the people from the town, they all just get together and they start to just recreate these movies with themselves and with their bad props and their own locations. Eventually, like, they get in trouble because copyright, all that, trademark, whatever. And then spoiler alert, I mean, if you haven't seen it, I mean, it's an old movie, but at the end they all just sit down outside the town, is out on the street. They have a big sheet up, and they just sit and watch all the films that they made together, and they just have a good time and they just enjoy them. And that's what I think of when I think of PRFF, is just a bunch of guys coming together, stuff that they all made together, just watching it and enjoying it and having a good time.
This has been the PRFF podcast, and I'm just hanging out
with my family.